not doing that. You know, I prepared some words, but I don't think I'm going to read them. I'll just talk to you. Thank you for the introduction, Itah, and thank you for letting me represent West Bank here today. We as an organization were blessed to win a bid, you know, with the help of some people in the room here, and we made a commitment, I guess about 7 years ago, to continue the amazing heritage that the Mervish family had created. A place of inclusion, a place of tolerance at a street corner at Bathurst and Bloor. As an Irish immigrant, I came to Canada as a 2-year-old and lived on Albany Avenue, and then going to U of T and living on Major. I'm very well versed in the importance of this particular cultural spot. Itah and the board and Blackhurst have been a beacon of an array of light for the city of Toronto that without we would be lesser for. So the news that's coming, I guess I'll let you speak to that. We are so delighted to be in partnership with this amazing organization. Mervish will hopefully open very, very soon. I'm going to say maybe the second quarter of 2023. As I said, the Mervish family did an incredible job of bringing culture to the front of everything through food and entertainment and arts and culture. We're going to continue that, as you will see over the coming months. So I am delighted to be here with you fine folks today. I'm interested in hearing about what you guys have going on, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of this incredible thing. Itah, thank you for being such a beacon, and the board for being so generous for your time and continuing this incredible tradition that's happening at Bloor and Bathurst. So thank you very much. You want to sing? She is great at everything.
You know what? But we are also too in the moment of the World Cup. So when the story is told, it will be said that in November 22nd, when people across the world are celebrating World Cup soccer, we have gathered here too at 7 Bathurst Street. And this morning, for some very strange reason, when I woke up, I remembered this. When I get older, I will be stronger. Call me freedom, just like a waving flag. So wave your flag, so wave your flag. Oh, and just remember how proud and it was such a joyous moment when Canaan dropped that in South Africa during the World Cup, and Canadians from coast to coast and little kids, people on the bus, everywhere we went, in the supermarket, we were singing that song. So that came into my thinking today. And Blackhurst Cultural Center is one of those moments when we have got older, and like good wine, we get better as we just keep going so that we can wave our flag here at Blackhurst and Bloor. And today is definitely a milestone day. It's a very exciting day. It's a day that's been in our hearts for a very long time. I'm also proud to tell you that as an organization and institution, when we look at community building and we look at capacity building, it is so important that as we move forward, we bring others along with us, because that's the whole point of human existence. And when the new block is opened, you will see accents across the block that will reflect the experience of people of African descent, people of the Black experience, people of the Caribbean ancestry right across the block. We are excited about that. We are excited that the Blackhurst Cultural Center will also too be at 7, a number that people always seem to play when they're gambling or they're doing like their 649. And everybody gives a high five. So I'm so happy that 5 comes after that 7. And whenever you're playing a board game and you troll a 6, ooh, booyah! So we are moving to 7, 5, 6, Bathurst Street. How cool is that? Whoa, gotta say that straight up. And so also too recently, we had the experience to expose some of our entrepreneurs, some of the people who are in the culinary arts, to the retail environment that is to come in the Blackhurst and the new development here with Mervish. Again, looking at all the assets in our community and how we move them along. And in case you have heard the word Blackhurst and you're thinking what that is, on a very good day, we can take you on a tour in this neighborhood and show you the likes of where Austin Clark probably wrote one of his great books. We can show you the presence and the spirit of Albert Jackson, the first letter carrier. And we can show you, or we can knock on her door on a good day, and Sandra Foster will come out, and she has lived in that home for 64 years, and she is still there, and that home is right across from Albert Jackson's home. And then there's the contrast. Royce and James is here. So many of our journalists are here today that cut their teeth right in the corner here of Bathurst, of Lanark and Bathurst. So we've got so much to celebrate, so many assets. And then there's folks like Miss Zanena Akanda, a former member of parliament and a cabinet minister, who too has great history in this neighborhood. What a place to have assets. And on a good day, we can also go to Markham Street and reimagine the Underground Railroad, and to think of Mammy Brown and her resilience coming all the way from America to settle here of what was known in the time of Seaton Village. What a capacity. And then one day a magical thing happened. Ian Gillespie, who is the head of West Bank Corp, came to visit with us. And as he's looking at the block and reimagining and thinking about the great vision, it entered into our conversation that we could even be bolder in our efforts as we move people forward. And oftentimes we have heard so many conversations about the lack of space, the lack of affordable space, the lack of space for artists to create. People are moving to Hamilton just to get space to create. People are moving to the bowels of Mississauga just to get spaces to create. But we say, hey, you can create even here in the city of Toronto. And so we thought about opportunity, and we started an incredible conversation with West Bank. And then because of community capacity and building, we saw the light of some other organization that shines very bright in this city. And that is the light, Madam Chair, you know, of Wood Green Community Services. And so we reached out to them because they had the expertise and the capacity to elevate our idea, to elevate our vision. And having said all of that, I'm now going to hand the microphone over to Mariga, someone who seems to have one name, so that speaks volumes of his capacity. And he is going to drill us down in some of the finer points of what is to come. So come and join me, Brother Mariga, because we are going to drop it like it's hot right now.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm not sure that I can. I didn't wake up singing. Yeah, so thank you very much. I think it was a big surprise when I got a call that this opportunity is there, and then for some reason you get, I thought, this is a Black community thing. I'm on, so I mean. So you get on Zoom and all the familiar faces that I've known for years. Pam was there. I think Judy, you were there too. And then of course, Itah was introduced as the lead. And I'm not sure if you probably know what the name Itah means in Swahili.
To be free of spirit?
No.
Okay.
So in Swahili, kuita is to call. And if that person calls, that person anaita. She has Itah. So for me, Itah called, and you don't say no, right? So yeah. So it's just, and then after that, of course, it was the excitement for me is we've done something similar with the Daniels, and for me to bring the expertise that we have with Wood Green and piloted, both in terms of negotiating the number of units as well as how you create a legal agreement and a relationship around an opportunity like this with developers. It's just fantastic. So I want to say, quite honestly, this is one of the highlights of my housing portfolio work. And we have, to be honest, bigger portfolio units, but the meaning of this is extremely powerful. And I think Itah knows that we've already exchanged communication in a written form to see what we can do to take advantage of some of the funding opportunities that CMHC has put aside for the Black community and in relation to development and working in partnerships like this. And we will be on that like there's no tomorrow. So I just want people to recognize this as a beginning.
Yeah.
And that window is open. And just to thank the teamwork that we have put together here, I want to acknowledge the work of Dianne Cook, who is not with us here today, who is the expert on the detailing of what we needed to do. She, other than just being staff, she was really involved in it. I also want to introduce Sipo Kwaku, who is the head of our diversity debate at Wood Green. So this work for us is also part of how we change and impact the culture of Wood Green, understanding the needs of the Black community and mainstreaming it through mainstream organizations in Wood Green. So thank you so much for that opportunity, both personally and on behalf of Wood Green. Let's grow this partnership to where it needs to go. Yeah. And thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure working with the partners, the developer partners, with the West Bank team. And I'm not sure who is who because it was all on Zoom. And then thanks again. Yeah. Yes. So just to give you a little detail, and I actually, kind of didn't say because this is just the beginning. We have the final agreement speaks to having 12 units,
Yes.
right? A combination of 2 bedrooms, 1 bedrooms, and studios. We have a referral agreement with the developer that those units will be dedicated to members of the Black community. They will be at 80% average market rent. And if we need to negotiate additional rent supplements to bring the affordability down based on the needs, that's the work that we have to do from now on. And we've kind of started that. But maybe I want to speak to our ambition in terms of our next phase and a challenge to the developer. Our head is to go at least 50 because that's the kind of scale that begins to make a lot more sense. So we started with 12. It's proof of concept. It will work, it will succeed, and before we even begin to rent those units, we'll begin the homework on the rest of the difference of our target to get to 50.
Right on.
Maybe 777.
Right? Yeah. So it feels really good to say that our collective efforts have produced 12 units for Black cultural creators here at Bathurst and Bloor so that people can continue to create and dream and build and continue having deeper roots here in this community. Clap all of that because it's beautiful. So I believe it was in maybe 2017, I'm not quite sure if that is the year, but I think it was 2017 or 2018. The Honourable Minister Hussen came to West Bank and came to the development and brought announcements and greetings from Ottawa and spoke about affordable housing and a number of things. And oftentimes when we meet with politicians, we are meeting in intense meetings or we are meeting in some kind of capacity. Today, Honourable Minister, and I'm glad that Mariga pointed out something about call and response. In the tradition of being a storyteller, call and response is so important for us. We wanted to let you know that the opportunities that you told us that could be available, that the vision that you came with in that time, we listened to you with the eardrum and with the heart. And this is the response that we are making to the speech and the moment that you came in 2017 or 2018. So we felt that it was important to build on that moment so that we can say to you, your words and your efforts were not in vain. We listened and we responded to the call. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce and to welcome to the microphone the Honourable Ahmed Hussen.
Thank you very much. It was 2019 because I remember coming it was right after the 2019 election, and it was one of my first announcements as the new housing minister. And I remember coming and being in awe of the size of the project, but particularly the commitments that had been made with the support of our government to preserve community space, but also keep these commitments to preserve 12 of the units for Black Canadian individuals and artists particularly, and also the cultural center and the childcare center and so on. At that time, I remember talking to you about the other possibilities and how we can learn from that opportunity and that conversation to move forward. And I think subsequent to that, I can only tell you that those opportunities are even more available now than ever before, particularly because of the subsequent increases in the budget for housing, affordable housing, but also particularly bringing a Black Canadian lens to what we do through the National Housing Strategy. And coincidentally, it's amazing that I'm actually here today because today is National Housing Day. So it's great to be here, and I hope this is a signal that our government is making sure that the National Housing Strategy works for everyone. And that means making sure that affordable housing options and opportunities to leverage federal dollars to work with organizations like Wood Green, the City of Toronto, West Bank, and our community members, that those opportunities are not only considered but actually prioritized. And I can tell you through programs that came about because of COVID, programs like the Rapid Housing Initiative, we've taken a Black Canadian lens to them, making sure that they reflect both in the proponents but also in the people actually moving into those units, that they represent the diversity of Canada, but particularly addressing the disproportionately higher core housing need present in Indigenous and Black Canadian folk throughout our country. And so new programs, existing programs like the one that was used to build this project, the Rental Construction Financing Initiative, and others have taken the view that we need to really do two things. We need to put a lens on a number of those dollars going out, but also we need to carve out significant dollars to enable capacity building in ways that will enhance the development of the capacity to build affordable housing in communities in which it's not as prevalent as possible. So in February 2021, on the first day of Black History Month, I announced a $50 million carve-out to the National Housing Co-Investment Fund to invest in the development of Black Canadian capacity building for affordable housing projects. And that money is available to the community, and I keep repeating that because we need to use it. We need to use it. In addition to that, there's many other programs that encourage and enhance the ability of community to really do what they do best. And we don't have the answers in Ottawa. Our job is to support these kinds of partnerships. I mean, when you connect with West Bank and Wood Green and the City of Toronto, this is what happens. And I'm glad you're thinking about the next level and the one after that. And know that in that journey, not only will I be with you, but I will do everything that I can to make sure that I not only point out to you the different pockets of funding, but that we actually work with you. We work with you, and we work with you in a spirit of trust and confidence to navigate those different processes so that you can cross that finish line and enable more and more of our community members to stay in this great city. We don't want people to be displaced because of high rental costs. And it's not just about building, it's also about access to a game-changing program that I introduced called the Canada Housing Benefit, which provides direct rental supplements to people who need it. And that program is now live in all 10 provinces and 3 territories. And unfortunately, not everyone knows about it. So again, we're doing amazing things in response to the calls to action by the community. But when those things actually happen, it doesn't come back to the community. So I use these opportunities and others in media interviews, my good friend is there, to really spread the awareness about programs like the carve-out, the Canada Housing Benefit, the Rapid Housing Initiative. The project stream of the Rapid Housing Initiative, $1 billion to 100% fund through a federal grant, rapidly built housing, is opening up on December 12th. And you'll have 90 days to apply. If any groups are interested in that, wink, wink, Wood Green, please, this is the opportunity to do that. And there's only 2 conditions to that funding. And it's the only program in the National Housing Strategy where the federal government will fund the entire project as a grant, not as a loan. And there's only 2 conditions to access that fund for a nonprofit. One is you have to either renovate or build in 12 months or less, which means buying up a hotel or putting modular housing or building from scratch if you can finish in 12 months. And we mean 12 months for people to actually move in. And the second condition is you have to target 1 or more vulnerable populations. And of course, Black Canadians are listed as part of those priority groups. So those are the only 2 conditions. If you can present those projects, the online portal will open on December 12th, and it will close on March the 12th. Please consider applying to the Rapid Housing Initiative. It's a great program, and there's $1 billion on the table. And then for the carve-out, we can talk about that. The Rental Construction Financing Initiative, which was used to build this project in Mirvish Village. There's even the Affordable Housing Innovation Fund, which encourages ideas and prototypes. And we've funded apps. We've funded prototypes of housing, different forms of building affordable housing. And any idea that leads to more access to affordable housing for any population is theoretically possible and a candidate to receive funding. So the National Housing Strategy, I'm proud to be part of a government that continues to increase investments in affordable housing. This budget was the 6th consecutive budget in which investments for affordable housing were increased. We now have a budget of over $86 billion. And that is really meant to partner with nonprofits, municipalities, provinces, but also the private sector to build more affordable housing across the country. And so my job is to make sure 2 things happen. Number 1, that the National Housing Strategy works everywhere in Canada and that it works for everyone. And that, of course, includes our community. And so this is a call to action. Know that the federal government is back in housing. We've been back not just as a leadership role, but actually through record investments. So we're no longer the problem. We are here to partner with you, and we will listen to your ideas. We have the money and the policy, but the specific projects and where they should go and which ones should be prioritized, that expertise belongs to you. Our job is to listen to you. And I commit to you that I have listened, I am listening, and I will continue to listen to you. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. And just to recall my good friend Maraga, yes. Asante sana. That's Swahili for thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Minister, just stay for just 1 second. We just have something for you in the group.
And this is Pam Campbell, who is our Operations Director. She has a little presentation for you.
I'm just going to say we'd like to thank you so much for all the work that you've done, taking the time to come out to hear about our announcement today, as well as giving us encouragement about what we can do, how far we can go, and great to see you still part of the community, and just thrilled that you were here, and a little token of us to remember. Thank you. Photo op. I know it's tall. Yeah. I know. Yeah, it's tall.
It's
Yeah.
the shoes.
Yeah. All right, somebody better
Thank you
take
so
some
much.
for me too.
Yeah, I know Andy. Yes.
Okay. All right, and the ladies do the professional one. Oh, the professional. There we go. Thank you. Great. Thank you so much. Fantastic.
Another round of applause. Thank
When you have the ability and the opportunity to do something new or to be in a leadership role, it is pretty exciting. We are thrilled today to have Councillor Dianne Saxe with us. She represents this neighborhood, and when we phoned her office to say this event was happening, unhesitatingly, she agreed to come and to be part of today's event. Councillor Saxe, you are in a great place of history. Your journey is about to begin, and we hope that you will continue to be in good health and bring a great vision to the city. So let's welcome Councillor Saxe with her remarks.
How's that? Good. All right. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Wonderful to be here on National Housing Day, and particularly wonderful to be here with Minister Hussen because he brought money. Which is, and of course, thank you very much, Itah, and to everyone at Wood Green and West Bank and everyone who helped make this happen. I mean, I bought my brick today, so I've done my little bit. But the city of Toronto, we don't have any money. But the federal government has the money, and if you have managed to persuade them to open the checkbook so you can get things done, then you need help from us to actually make that happen on the ground, and that's where I can help. So, as many of you know, I suppose I've been a councillor for precisely 1 week. We almost have our phone system working. Eventually, they'll get the computers, sort of working, and we actually get sworn in tomorrow. But so lots and lots going on. But I have 4 generations of my family have been born in this riding, grown up here. Certainly I came to Honest Ends as a child, as did my parents. And it's been really interesting watching the development of the neighborhood. Very exciting, actually, to learn about the 12 dedicated units for Black artists. And that's a wonderful start. If you can make it 50, all the better, but we don't have the money. You have to ask him.
But we will.
Okay. And also the Blackhurst Cultural Center. I mean, we know how important community spaces are. I hear that from every group in every community. The city is building fast. We've got this immense push from the province to build lots and lots and lots and lots of condos. But if we just have a sea of condos in gridlock and nothing else, we don't have a good city, we don't have a good community, we don't have a way forward. And we are not getting those things coming, out of the sky. They're coming from people like you and the hard work that you do year after year, decade after decade, building community and building links with people like West Bank and Wood Green and the city so that we can make a better city for everyone. We know we're heading into a lot of hard times, right? We know we're heading into hard times economically. We're certainly heading into very hard times from a climate point of view. Lord only knows what's happening with all the diseases that are going around. And in hard times, we need each other more. We need cultural spaces more. We need art more. We need a way to pull together. And that so much of that social capital has been badly damaged in the last 2.5 years. We see over and over again how angry people are, how lonely people are, how lost people are, how disconnected people are. I don't know if you saw the survey this week that something like 40% of Torontonians don't have a single close person they could call if they were sick. Not one person. That's a terrible way to live. And so thank you for the work that you do, building networks, building connections, welcoming in more and more people, making a place that makes this place feel like home and feel a good place to belong to. So that's what we all need, is a sense of purpose, a sense of community, a way to give back and learn each other. And I'm so glad that you're leading the way, and I look forward to being part of it.
Thank you.
One more time.
I'm supposed to do a photo.
I have a little something for you.
I should put my last one. You could be a part for a photo. You want
Yeah.
I'll trade it with you.
No. Okay. Listen, well, on behalf of the Blackhurst Cultural Center, I want to say, well, sort of welcome to the neighborhood as the councillor, but absolutely thrilled that you have been here for generations. Right on, right on. So, want to give you a little token of our appreciation and look forward to many, many interactions. Here we go. Right on.
Right on.
There you go. There you go. Thank you.
So, careful. Yes, yeah. Yes, we heard that you're going to off to greet the President of Estonia, but thank you, Councillor Saxe. And Councillor Saxe, before we go, I just want to say something real quick. This is my mother over here, Gloria Emmeline Walcott. She's 91 years young. And we come out of a tradition of construction in Barbados. So my mother was one of the first 25 women to come on the domestic program out of the Caribbean when the government of Canada opened up its immigration policies. Today is a momentous day for her, to hear all the words of the minister, to hear all of the words even of our chair, Judy Brooke, whose family, the Brooks family in their own right. I think Judy's dad was the first Black principal here in the city of Toronto. And standing in the back too is also Sandra Foster, whose dad was the first Black conductor with the Toronto Transit Commission. And she lives in her home for 64 years. 70 up till today on Brunswick Avenue. So the assets in this at this gathering is tremendous. And we also too have so many dynamic and wonderful people. We have Kevin Armsby, one of our principal dancers and choreographers in the city. We have Anthony Morgan, who is disappearing into the books back there because we so love him, from the Confronting Anti-Black Racism, here with us this afternoon. So just wanted to introduce some of the many assets. And Louisa, the red carpet today, two last quick things. The red carpet today, because we rock style here. But this is in tribute to Louisa's mother, who was Olympia. And for the longest time, Louisa came and she just became family of the Blackhurst Cultural Center. And she just had this determination to get us the right carpet, the real carpet, the reddest of carpet. And so the carpet rolled out today. So clap the spirit of Olympia from this neighborhood, who is in the carpet. And Councillor Saxe, I hope you took note that when we roll with real cups, real saucers, real everything, because we are too environmentally conscious. Enough respect on all of that. And when we shared the dream of having this Blackhurst Center, even before that dream was even present, someone came into a different book list at the time when we were across the street. And she asked us, what is your thinking? And we told her our thoughts and our ideas and so many different things. And she said, And she left and she came back. And when she came back, she became our senior patron, someone that we can call and that wind beneath our wings. And that is none other than the former MPP, Zanena Akande, and former. Let's welcome her to bring some remarks.
Well, thank you very much. This is a good day.
It's a great day.
A good day, Unlike Africville, unlike Harlem, we're not leaving. We're not going to come back. We are going to stay. And it's very exciting for me, when as Aisha says, when they began to talk about it, and I thought, became excited about the possibilities of doing so many things, because this is my home. This is where I grew up. I went to Harvard Collegiate over here, and the University of Toronto over there, and lived and then with the Barclays down on Harvard Street. And so we grew up here. And I said to my friends at that time, I said, wouldn't it be terrific if we remembered who we were and didn't go away and come back? You know, that the style was then that as soon as you got 15 cents, you moved into better circumstances. And better circumstances were usually out in Scarborough or nearer to Oakville or out in Etobicoke, and to show that you now earned enough money to live elsewhere. But any time the weekend came, somehow you found yourself down here, you know? And you'd be walking along Bathurst or along Bloor, and you'd say, what are you doing here? And they'd say, well, this is where things happen. And it certainly was, the Alhambra Theater and the Metro Theater, and I see the heads knocking because you know of those things. It was extremely important for us to come home so that we could establish ourselves as the true beginners of the neighborhood, the true builders of the neighborhood. I mean, you couldn't have your hair cut if you didn't have it cut on Bathurst.
Right.
You couldn't read, you couldn't get a book about Black history unless you went down the street to Lenny Johnson's bookstore.
Go on.
You couldn't get it. And my father would say to me, they don't have books at the university library. And I said, they don't have us in the books. And when they do, they don't tell the true story.
Yes.
And so I'd come all the way down here and spend my life, I think Lenny thought I lived there for a while, sitting on the floor because there often wasn't a room, everybody else was around getting those books. And then there was the home service that provided activities for youth and for older people and for the Canadian Negro Women's Club. That's when we were Negroes instead of Black. You know. And there we were. I used to work at the home service. And Higher Marks, the private school, when the parents of some of our Black children didn't think that the public school was serving our needs the best. And so Higher Marks came about. And those children led the way and went back into public school and demonstrated, hey, we're not stupid. You're just not teaching us well. And so there was so much happening here. And I remembered it well. And I still, when I get a little lonely, and that doesn't often happen, I do come and walk down Bathurst Street. It somehow makes me feel good to look and see where the Holloways lived. And to walk a further down and see the Cooks. And walk around and recognize the homes of people that I knew and that I respected and that I grew up to emulate, I hope, in terms of the ambition. So this is a good day. They've already told you about our moving in again, with the housing. Maybe I could get a condo. I give up my house just to hear some real music in real time without somebody raising an eyebrow. I really do congratulate you. You've done fantastic things. And I'll back you every day with the last nickel I've got, just to make sure that when my grandchildren walk down Bathurst Street, they will remember we were there.
Sometimes you just have to let the Spirit say thank you. And that was just a moment, Zanina, after you spoke, that we just had that moment of reverence just for the ancestors to say, thank you, you're moving forward. I'm even looking at Sipo, and I've known Sipo for a very long time. And Sipo was the head of our Susu. You couldn't be late paying the Susu. He had fines. If we were still in the Susu today, we could probably buy the building now. That's straight up. He was very disciplined, and he ran it for a very long time. So I can't help but look at you and think about that economic development and the vision that you had when we were 19 and 20 and 21, and every Friday we would come to your home to give our hand so that we could build capacity, pay for our university education, whatever it was. So when I look at you, I remember that moment too of economic development. And Zanina, thank you too for your speech, because we are north of Liberty Village. And we see the students and young people coming from the 905 back into the city to claim space, to hear themselves, to hear the sweetness of accents, to just be alive and expressive. And here we are at the top of Bathurst de Bloor, where they can come and congregate and celebrate and engage. And to know that every school year, 60,000 students at the University of Toronto circulate within this environment. And so the presence and the youthfulness and the spirit of young people will also propel us forward to do such great and honorable things. Today, we even have the founder of CUSO with us. This is such an incredible day, Don Simpson. So many assets. We have the youngest board member and member here, Shiloh Ashman. I think she's 4 weeks old? 3 months now, all right, but it sounded better when she was 4 weeks, eh? That's what I tell you. So she's 4 months. Also too want to acknowledge the presence of James, who represents Minister Freeland, Minister of Finance, and she's also too our representative here in this write-in. So thank you to James for taking the time to come today to just be part of this. To Angela Peer, another board member that we didn't acknowledge before. Angela, who comes all the way from the bowels of Scarborough, the place I was born, to be here. So thank you to Angela for coming. And we have met Christian, and I should know that, Christian. And thank you to Christian for coming and also enabling the presence of Councillor Saxe. To the members of the media, you have been good to us, good with the storytelling of the movement that we are about. We are not moving to a development. That is not our intention. We are not moving to a simple village. That is not our intention. We are intentional to go there to build community and the capacity of community. That is the intention and the gift of the Blackhurst Cultural Center. So to Tyson, to you in West Bank, we want to thank you, and we want you to convey our thanks to Ian Gillespie, because he is an easier developer to have a conversation with. In these moments, oftentimes, we come when the block is going to be completed, and we come to enter the conversation. So I'm very mindful that when we enter the conversation with West Bank, it occurred the day after David Mervish walked around the block and said, I have sold the block to a new developer. They're out of Vancouver, and it is West Bank. Ian Gillespie is the head of this institution. And in that minute, when we heard the word Gillespie, all we could think about was jazz, because the only other Gillespie that I know was Dizzy. And so in that moment, we decided that we are going to dance in the tempo of jazz, because what jazz allows us to do is to improvise, to listen to each other and to listen to phrasing. And so it was a wonderful thing that he carried the spirit of that name Gillespie, because it has allowed us to dance in the tempo of jazz and phrasing. And as my good friend Don Simpson would say, we are in a renaissance. We've got the Harlem Renaissance. We've got so many renaissance in this world, but the question often is, what is the Canadian Renaissance? And our statement and our response to that, the Renaissance is taking place. The Canadian Renaissance is taking place right here at Bathurst and Bloor. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to Blackhurst, and thank you for coming.